winter.
Okay, let's get into this. Coming back at you live over here underneath the Carlsbad sign on the beach.
Trash art. Beautiful trash art.
Beautiful trash art. Well, that's reduce, reuse, recycle. Really, this is the most beautiful piece of art
we say
we've
green
seen all
around
day.
here.
At least they didn't waste paint that poisons the fish with lead. I'm going to get that out.
Segue. We're about the earth.
24-hour offer.
Yeah. Let's ignore that the earth is dying. Let's talk about it. All right.
So tell us, okay, so what's this? We're going to 24-hour offer, no open house, no showing, no full commission, no gimmicks.
Mm-hmm.
Click the link below right now if you want a 24-hour offer on your house, brought to you by Fam Realty.
Yes, sir. So it depends on, what the person's situation is. And that is something that if someone does not want anyone in their home, they don't want to put it on the open market. They really just need to sell quickly. They have some life thing that happens. They need to move like tomorrow. And big financial crisis, we can write a 24-hour offer on the home, no questions asked, no gimmicks. There's no commission built into it, and it's a 24-hour offer, just like what it sounds like, where we can cash and get them one. It'll close within 72 hours, and they can move on. Now that's a 911 call. We don't recommend that. First off, we could obviously, as investors, that would be great if we all just did it on everyone's house. But what's best for the homeowner, if they're not in that situation, is we will take it, or we'll take the offer, or the job, and we can list it off market. And if we advertise it off market, then we have a database of 15, 20,000 buyers in San Diego County, and we can market to them off market. Now, everyone wins in that situation because now, and there's cons to that, which I'll get to, but the off market is there's so many buyers in our database, we can market it to them. They get a benefit because they don't have to compete in this market and get into all these bidding wars, and but same vice versa goes, if the homeowner is looking for something, and there's different situations that'll trigger someone to want to only do off market. We have one in Carlsbad right now. Famous artist, unknown name. He's in pre-foreclosure. He has a lot of money, but he just wants to close it out so he can pay off, why he borrowed against the house. He doesn't want it public, and we're selling his house off market. And we're doing a creative deal where we're helping him negotiate down his third lien, and also his second, get him more on the sale. Don't tell the banks that we're negotiating the second before selling it so he can get more money. And we actually have another one like that down south in San Diego as well. So that's something that's, it's the creative. So we sell it off market. They don't have to have a bunch of people through their house. Some people are really elderly. We can't have, if Carl, one of my clients, he's 87, we can't have people just touring his house just willy-nilly and just, and hundreds of people want to see his house, just for the heck of it. So to limit that, we sell it off market. We advertise to buyers we already have. And that's a benefit to the seller.
So tell us a little bit about the buyers that we already have. This powerful database that Fam Realty Group has been putting together over the years, and just fill us in a little bit about that.
Over the years, long before even I started working with Frances, and maybe when I was born, she started building her database. Frances has been in the business for 25 years, Brett. We have this large database, and she's lived here the whole time too, born and raised. So, and there's a lot of marketing that goes in, over the years we market on all these different properties, and we get buyers an inquiry on it. They don't end up buying that house, and now we have them, but they're ready to buy. And they stick it out on our database, and we keep in touch with them. Some turn into friends. So that's how the database is built so much over time, is we keep having those people that are, from our other listings and various different marketing, essentially. And we capture that, and we have it. We know, and we have their criteria on standby. So we punch it in whatever that property is, and pops up 50 names, blasts to them, and most of the time we can find a buyer.
Oh, cool. So that's essentially like you guys create your own market.
Yeah.
Instead of taking it to listing it on all these realtor websites, you're listing it internal to your core group of
Absolutely. It's in the fam bam, and that's why I keep saying the fam, like the name, it just keeps revolving. So like in our database, that's why it benefits everybody. If they don't want to put it on the open market and that's not in their, what they're capable of or their situation, everyone wins. We market it directly to fam first. And then, if no one in the fam wants it or the homeowner ends up, which most of the time there's people 20,000 people, there's just someone in there, even with that Rancho Santa Fe property, there may be like 2, but they're still in there. So advertise them first. We advertise them as well, let them know it's going to come onto the market. If the sellers, that's what they want to do. This way they get a heads up and maybe we can help them out.
Yeah. So now when you go to hit these lists or to of this database, and even before you put that onto like the other websites and the other marketing tactics, can you talk to us about the importance of the price to sell? Pricing to sell. So we go into so we have this huge amount of people in this database. Mm-hmm. So what's the importance of pricing your home to sell?
So the importance of pricing the home to sell is you cannot underprice a home, but you can overprice a home. So if you overprice a home on the price that you're thinking that, and this all comes down to knowing the market and knowing that neighborhood, that everything is just putting in the picture all into one, is if you overprice that home on the price that you're trying to end up at after the bidding war, and you put that on the market as that first, a couple things are going to happen. People are going to, other buyers that are inquiring on it that are represented by other buyers agents, if it goes on the open market, they're going to say, well, that's the price this thing's going to end up on. And they're going to kind of wince at it. Now, if we price it at, say we want to end up at $750 and we want to appeal, we want more, the goal is to get the most eyes on it as possible. We want people to fall in love with that thing, walk and get people in the door. If someone's max price is $699 or $700,000 and we want to get to $750, we want to price it at $699 going on the market, and that's going to get everyone that's looking between $700 and $800 at that home, and everyone that's looking between under $7, right under $7. And those are definitely 2 price points that separate. There's different brackets of price. There's really competitive. $500 to $600, totally different buyer than $800 to $900. So,
cool.
Yeah.
So let's get into the top 3 things to sell your house fast.
Okay. Yeah. This market, not that hard.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
Shortage of inventory. Everyone's trying to buy. Interest rates are cut. There's still a shortage of inventory. We're down still, 35% from last year's the same time. Which shifted the market, honestly. The hottest months of the year, we're still, you got shifted to the right 3 months, essentially. So first thing is you got to get a home valuation. You got to see where you're at. How are you going to start? Are you going to start to know where to sell it at? Someone to give you a home valuation. And that's where we come by. It's free. We come by the home. We take a look at it. We'll run the comps. We'll look at all the properties around it prior. We'll bring it so we can present it to you. Hey, this is what's sold in your neighborhood and why at the price. And then we take a look at the inside of the house. We'll see what you need to do as far as paint, patchworks. Hey, spray paint that fresh white so it looks really nice. Or this is a major upgrade you should do. Do you have the money for that? If you don't, we actually have a fix and list service where we pay the money up front to do the major renovation, depending on the renovation and what they want to do. We just get paid back at escrow, no cost to that. But yeah, and then number 2, after we figured out home evaluation, this is where you're sitting at the property. This is what's going to get you the most money. Don't fix that. That's going to be a waste of money. Don't put a pool in for $80,000 if it's going to add $20,000 of value. We can earn our commission right there. Just in that difference. And then we're going to stage it. You got to professionally stage it, and that's another thing that we pay for up front. We'll professionally stage the property with a third-party company. We'll take all your stuff out as much as you might like your certain renovations. It might not be what's going to sell. So we'll get professional stages in there, nice furniture in after we do the minor renovations, and that's going to make it really pop and it's going to appeal. So if you have a different kind of layout where it doesn't really work for like an L couch, we have to professionally stage that to paint the picture to a buyer of when they walk through the property, like, oh, this makes sense with furniture in here. You know, if it's empty, it's kind of hard to, you know, people can't paint that picture unless they have that mind. And then, so 3 is have a master negotiator. Again, you know, it really, some people in this, they think that this industry, it's all about just like showing the house and opening doors and stuff. There's a lot of negotiations and skills that go into that, and it curates over time with experience. So you got to have somebody that's going to be able to create that bidding war, get the property up, know what's going to need to be fixed to get that bidding war up, price it correctly, and then be able to close at the highest dollar. And that is as a Picasso painting, you know, it's just, it's not a beginner task. So definitely.
So those are the top 3 things.
Yeah, I'd say it's top 3.
Awesome.
Pretty important.
Cool. I don't even know what an iBuyer is. Does that come with my iPhone? Is it an iPod? I gotta plug it in? Is it like, what does this thing do?
It's not.
Does it buy it for me and then
It's not as nice. This is not.
Okay.
It's not really.
This is not an Apple product.
It's not an Apple product.
Oh,
surprisingly, in our day and age, with Apple ruined the world. So maybe watch. Apple is gonna also be buying real estate one day, doing cash offers. So the iBuyer service is a cash offer service, right? Just like we offer a 24-hour cash offer. This is somebody that's a big online conglomerate that basically drops in your email box, says, what would you take for the house? And that prompts for a home evaluation. We find out about it. Honestly, I usually talk people out of it. It's not really good in this market, you know. In markets in the Midwest or something like that, a cash offer, if you're losing 10% on your house, it's not going to hurt you as much. You know, we're talking houses on average out here are $650. I think that's the average median sale price in San Diego. You know, or, you know, depending on what's North County. Let's go to $650 in North County. So, you know, they're basically, the iBuyer service is a cash offer service that'll just basically write you an offer electronically from afar. They're not going to come. They're not going to see your neighborhood. They're not going to know your local market. They're going to know how sought out for something like Fire Mountain is. They're not going to consider any of that. They're going to look at bed, bath, and just quick numbers and shoot you an offer and hope it gets accepted so they can make a bunch of money. Now, again, it doesn't make sense in this market if someone can go by, get you the most money on the cash offer. And again, that's a 911 call that we can do. But I always advise against it if you don't have to. You know, let's get you the most amount of money. So let's fix the house first. Let's fix and list it. We'll pay for it up front. But the iBuyer service, how we compete with that is it's really just somebody that's going to write you a check that doesn't know. They're not going to step by your door. They're not going to look inside and say, "Oh, you spent $20,000 on that kitchen." I don't care. It's just it's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, and the next one down the road is also a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, but it's terrible. You know, it's not renovated at all, and they're not going to consider things like that. Wow. So that's where that's why I advise against it.
Don't do the iBuyers. Coming at you hot.
This market,
cool.
there's definitely better options, especially in dealing with somebody that's, you know, local and, you know, treating you like family.
Cool. So if I'm getting ready to sell my house, what do I have to do to get a hold of somebody? Like, what's that? Because there's the fulcrum, that tipping point of, hey, I'm selling my house. I don't know what the first step is.
You know, a lot of people will go around to their friends or they'll inquire on, that's what's dangerous. You know, they'll surge that. That's how iBuyer finds people. You know, that's going to be one of their ways, besides just dropping in your email box. But is just marketing. People saying, Google, how to sell my house. iBuyer is probably going to be one of those that pops up, captures your information, starts email blasting you, letting you know about this cash offer service. Yeah. Now, some people, you know, we have, you know, our referrals come in. We do good for a client, and somebody refers us. If you don't know somebody in the real estate field, it can be kind of scary because this business is, you know, you got to trust somebody. This is the most expensive asset in your life. So people start shopping around online, and, you know, whatever ends up, and that's somehow sometimes our marketing will end up there too. But you got to find somebody that's a local expert, and you got to start with a home evaluation and see where you're at and what do you need. You know, besides the property, like where are you gonna go? What's your plans? You know, what's your lifestyle like? Like, do you need to move out of state because you lost a job? What's your timeline? You know, do you need to sell this fast, quick? Here's the 3 offers. Here's the 3-4 options here.
So if I'm a seller, what do I have to do?
What do you got to do to get your
Pick
house?
up the phone and call you, or text you, or email you, or just show up to the office, or like, what's that? Hey, hi, Corey, I need to sell my house.
Yes.
Is that what a homeowner needs to say to you directly? Like, this is actual information that somebody can use as an action step that has no idea on how to sell a house.
Gotcha.
Right. So I bought the house. It's my first house I've bought, but now I'm selling my first house to upgrade or to downgrade. Right. So, but now he's going into the selling process. How does that conversation go?
Well, conversations goes however you connect with the fam, whether it be online marketing that you'll find us at, whether you Google us, whatever it finds. You look at reviews and you find us on Zillow, but when you find us, just give us a call. Give us a call, email, text, and we'll get in contact. And from there, we're going to ask you what's your situation in life? What's your goal? Obviously, some people are like, I need to get out, and everyone thinks that. Top price. Obviously, everyone wants the most money, but you might say like, I'm in a hardship right now, and I need to be out of my house in like 2 weeks. I just lost my job. I got to move. I got to take care of my mom in Arizona. I got to get out of here, and they don't want to rent the property out. Well, cool. Then I'm going to build off the plan for you on that, and we're going to book a time to go by the house and get you a home valuation and see where that property is actually at and what the market can possibly pay for it.
Cool. Here we go.
Get connected.
Buyers, sellers. We're talking about sellers. You're a buyer guy, but we're going to talk about sellers today.
Buyer perspective, though. What do I look for? Yeah.
With the buyer, with a seller with a buyer perspective. So let's get into it. Tell us about it.
All right. So
seller's gonna sell.
Seller's gonna sell. So when I think about selling properties, if I'm a buyer's agent, what would I be going through looking for? What would I be picking apart? If I was representing my buyer, if I'm gonna be walking through that house, is there chips in the paint? Is there simple things that could have been done that like just kind of scream attention to detail? Even a light fixture that over time gets yellow, you can spray paint that thing white. It's $1, whatever, how many dollars to spray for a spray can of paint. You can just take them off, put them back on. So those are the things like when we go to sell a house, we can just, and if it's a minor stuff, if it's chips and paint, that's an easy day, and if it's a full paint job, sometimes we can pay up front for stuff like that. We just highly encourage, if there's small stuff, we got to do it. If there's big stuff, then that's a different discussion.
Which helps people sell their house faster for more money.
Yes, faster, gets more money in their pocket.
Gotcha.
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely.
So then if we go into like, what is giving value like from the heart as far as that? What does that mean? How does that relate to being a seller's agent? Or, hey, I'm going to sell your house. Where's that value come from?
Well, we're in the business of people to like the utmost, most personal, level, I feel like, of any business. We're dealing with people's houses where they spend all their time, they create all their memories. Where are they going to go next? We got to consider timelines. This might be their nest egg of what they're going to be retiring with. It might be what they're going to be passing down, money they're passing down to their family, or if they're just in need, and we need to be able to get the most money for them and serve them in a way where we're not going in a robot where it's like cash in, cash out, transaction, and you're gone. We got to meet timelines. You got to be sensitive to what they need. And a lot of times we end up getting on a really personal level with our clients. And, that to me is where like really the gold's at, in the relationship. So, and we like to keep all our clients honestly as friends, we'll go have lunch, and that's the way we want to live. So
welcome to the fam.
Yeah. So it's in the name. I love it. Just kind of revolves on itself.
And then can you talk about why like a local agent would be important in this seller situation? If I'm selling my house, like if I'm going to find an agent to like lock a contract in with, why is it important to have a local agent to sell my house? Oh man.
Every neighborhood's got its own, ecosystem. There's certain areas that are, let's say, if you're an agent that's coming down from LA because you just want to get that full commission and you want to come down here, you don't know our market. You don't know what neighborhoods are actually really sought out for and have good resale value. Like if like Fire Mountain right here in Carlsbad. It used to be North Carlsbad. Is there the history on it? It's all custom homes. You have to know that market. It's a certain kind of buyer. People go to there, retire. Same thing with Henny Hills. All these little pockets. These are like hidden gems of these neighborhoods. And who's buying in those markets? How much do they get marked up? How many buyers are typically putting in offers on those houses? The activity on them. So you just really got to know this neighborhood. And that's why I love, Francis, born and raised here. I've been here ever since I've been in the military, last 7 years, and knocked a lot of doors in Oceanside when I was an investor. So it pays to know like this place like back of your hand.
And then how does that help a seller?
Yes.
Help a seller? They get the most money or whatever.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
Just in the best way possible.
So we'll know exactly how to price that home, because a lot of a lot of where agents kind of mess up is they overprice a home. And that you can never underprice a home, because the market's ultimately going to determine value. So let's just say we want to end up at at 750,000, but if we start there at the listing, we're not going to get as many eyes on it. So if we know that's a neighborhood where a lot of people, like Rancho Del Oro, a lot of people want to live in Rancho Del Oro because they can't afford Carlsbad for the same style of house. But if we price that at $699 and we put it on the MLS, it's going to appear in everyone's searches that's looking from 7 to 800 and everyone from 6 to 700. And we're going to get double the buyers inside that house.
Wow.
They walk through it, they'll fall in love with it, and that's what creates the bidding war, where the market determines value. We don't determine value.
Gotcha. So the market dictates the price.
Yes, we can. We could price the house at $1. Everyone's going to start bidding on it. And they're like, "It'll go 600, 700," and because they know, they'll know the area as well, because they're going to be represented. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
So instead of starting off too high and not getting anybody looking at it, you pick this prime spot where you get the most bids.
Yeah, I actually kind of prey on that.
Okay.
As a buyer, when I work with buyers, I actually scan the market, what's been sitting on the market for 30 days, run comps on that specific property. Why has it been hanging out? Oh, they probably overpriced it, and sometimes you can find deals that way, because most people just think there's something wrong with it. They won't go look at it.
Wow.
So it's been on too long.
That's wild.
Which in this market, over 12 days is actually a long time.
Really?
Oh yeah.
And what's the cause of that?
So it's because, there's a multitude of factors. The San Diego market is always going to be hot. It's never going to go away. And then, in the last few months, we experienced, a 1.5 at least point reduction in interest rates, which if you look at just even a $500,000 home, and that's just a standard 3-bedroom, 2-bath in Oceanside, over the course of 30 years, 1% is $115,000 on the mortgage, opposed to what they would spend this time last year at 4.3% on average. Whoa. So now we're cutting down, and we're in the high 2s, and over time that interest, amortized interest, is a pain, and that's why we teach how to beat that system, within FAM University. So, and people know that. People know they're going to be saving that much over time and on their monthly, so they're bidding up, and they want to get in on real estate.
Gotcha.
So they want to secure an investment.
That's cool. So does the virtual showings, does that contribute to selling these houses faster, to get if they're only on the market for 12 to 15 days?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Tell us about kind of how that works.
So with virtual showings, is we'll do. As far as we're representing the seller, that's why we got you.
Yeah.
We have, the big, drone footage of the house, especially with that, that house that we had in Rancho Santa Fe. You zoom out and you can actually appreciate that thing.
Yeah, they got an orchard.
They have an orchard. It's 3 acres.
It's not just a yard. It's trees with fruit.
It's where, if you can hold weddings at a property, that says something. If you want to hold a wedding there for thousands, tens of thousands of dollars a night, that's an estate. Uh-huh. So we have to, walk through the house, and, the virtual tour kind of helps, because there's, a couple different forms that, we do all at once, depending on the property, especially for luxury, is, 3D Matterport. 3D Matterport's a really cool technology where, basically it's like Google Maps for inside of a house. It's a special camera that goes through, and you can walk through the house virtually for all the buyers. So that saves time, people going through. And a lot of our buyers right now, because of, COVID, they don't want people coming in their house and spreading germs and stuff like that. So that minimizes it. And also we can make, edit the photos and make it look nice. And then obviously the marketing with the drone footage, it gets more eyes on it. We blast the whole world, cool video. It's right on, it's next to the beach, so.
Uh-huh. Cool. What does this mean would you consider yourself a negotiating ninja? So as a seller, the power of negotiating prices up to get maximum value for that house.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's great about having an actual agent list the house for you instead of trying to do a DIY deal.
Yes, which is a detriment.
Because you can do a DIY deal and it's just like, oh, do. But if you get an agent, they're going to drive that to get that top market value. Because again, it goes back to the market dictates the price, and you have that network. So tell us about this negotiating ninja, right?
Well, I mean, it definitely takes a lot of training, and it comes from a lot of different angles. I believe that, when me and Franny start working together on a deal, it's because we're just really good. We're just naturally relationship specialists, so we know how to feel people out. And we don't, a lot of, people, we don't want to create bad blood, with your buyers or sellers, whatever your client. So just being able to feel out that good relationship and understand where people are at without verbally saying it and giving that up. And just also knowing where the market is on that house. I mean,
so what goes into a negotiation? So we get into one, right? How does this work? This is an interesting topic to talk about because we're like, oh, I'm negotiating. But like, what does that mean? What actually happens in this negotiating phase, right?
Yeah.
And what does it mean to be a ninja at it? So tell us, how does this negotiating factor
I hear you.
work?
So I guess to paint the picture, so if we say we have a hot property, and we get 20 offers in on it, and the 20 offers in, they're all different, some people, will shave it off. There'll be some pricings that some people just are trying to entertain offers that don't make sense. Okay, we won't counter them. So let's say we just get 10 off the table, but 10 are serious, and 10 are over. And we got some over asking, some that are giving better terms. And we say our buyer wants these 60-day terms, but this person's giving 30 more grand, and we balance it out. So we might say, well, the person that's giving us 30 more grand, we can counter them back with the terms that we want. And in this market, it's much easier to get your terms and your price, which is a very rare time in history. Wow. Because of the competitiveness. So it all comes back to the counters. So we'll take each buyer, we'll look at their pre-qualification, how strong of a buyer they are. Are they 20% down? Are they FHA? Are they VA? Are they removing loan contingencies? There's all these different things that you wouldn't know if you were just listing it on HomeCoin for $500.
Wow.
And you got to know these things. What does it mean to remove the loan contingencies? That's important. That means the loan's fully approved. That's a strong buyer. Whoa. So maybe, you get on the phone with them. You say, well, there's somebody that's at 730 or, are $30,000 over. Are you willing to, you send a counter out to that person. And, if they fell in love with the property, that number will go up if their qualification dictates. So, and you just keep sending counters out, and it goes back and forth. And eventually you kind of just go back when you find with person that is going to give you terms and the best price and balance that out.
Wow. And then now how does it get to, so as the negotiating is, how do you guys get that above asking? Because I hear this a lot as you guys are, as you guys are selling, what do they call those? Selling agents.
Yeah.
So now how do these selling agents get above asking on some of these things during this negotiation process? At what point in time, does this happen? Okay, cool. We were asking for, and we got $525 for it. So you got an extra $120K on this property. What's the deal?
Absolutely.
Just because people keep bidding and
people keep bidding, they keep countering.
Yeah.
So you can keep it. If you say 5 people end up being in the race, truly after you skim through all the offers, those are the people you keep countering and you keep updating. Well, they'll do this, and you create the pool, and everyone's in that pool just saying okay, well, we're updating them. Well, now we got the 30 grand over, and and they're giving terms. What are you willing to do? What do you want to do? And everyone's, you tell them basically what's going to get accepted, and they keep going up. Next person counters. Now we got to go back to them. This is now the highest offer on the table. And it just keeps filtering itself off. Number 4 drops off. Number 3 says I can't do that. But 2 are still there, and it goes neck and neck, and the process just keeps continuing. Of ultimately saying what's the highest on the table and what terms are you willing to give.
Yeah, and then so now this is the importance of actually getting the right seller's agent.
Yes.
Right? So what is the importance of actually having the right agent on your listing, on your property that you're trying to sell? Tell us about that.
Because if you have a good listing agent, I know that me and Franny, we stay up till 1 a.m. doing counters and figuring stuff out because sometimes it's just really what this requires. There's timelines. This business is all about timelines. Everything has to be timed perfectly. And you can't, you got to get back to somebody because that offer leaves the table, then you just lost that offer for somebody. So you got to be, do all your due diligence. But sorry, I want to retract your question again.
As far as the right agent.
Oh, having the right, okay.
The importance of having a right agent to sell your house.
Yes.
So if I'm a homeowner and I'm trying to sell my house, what's the importance of me picking the right agent?
Yeah, so like I said, the first thing we're talking about is just pricing the home, but that revolves into just overall experience level, like of where the market's at. So you have to have somebody that is a local expert and knows this and knows the price of of what it's worth to come in. And one of the biggest tools I feel like is due to having our investor background. And Frances, her dad was a property manager growing up. Like she can walk through a house and piece everything apart. She's an interior designer. She has all these different skills, and and then with the investor, so we walk through. If you want to put a pool in for $80,000, and you think it's gonna jack up the price, but it's only gonna add 15, you just wasted your money. And that's where it's things like that is where it's really beneficial to have somebody that's an expert and knows what's gonna sell and where your money is actually worth it. A lot of people, we get in there and they upgrade their house too much before we even get to talk to them, before we meet them, and it's a waste.
Gotcha. They're all doing these DIY things that they think they're going to be able to list their house for more.
Yeah, they'll take out the entire cabinetry, restructure the whole kitchen. You could have just resurfaced those things.
Oh.
$15,000.
Gotcha.
It's just resurfaced, put some new fixture knobs on, some knobs on it.
Sand it down, repaint it, or sand it down, refinish it.
Yeah,
put
save you a
knobs
bunch.
on, boom, you got a whole new deal.
Yeah.
Wow.
Big change.
Okay. Coming at you hot over here. That's a good one.